Okay, good first day. Just so you guys know the schedule, this will be our last one. We're going to do a little something not on the practice field tomorrow, so this was our last practice of the off season. Feel really good where we're at. Got a long way to go, but the attention to detail, the attitude, the effort is there, and they're ready to go here. They take a little break, but they know it's really not a break in pro football these next 5.5 weeks. And then we'll get back on July 23rd, and we'll let it rip. Questions?
Is that when you're going to report as a team?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned you have a long way to go, but what's your general feeling about this group now after having spent some time?
They care. They're team-first people. They care about their teammates. They compete. And we got smarter. I feel like we got smarter. So, you know, everyone's excited this time of year, but they're excited and ready to go to camp.
Can I touch on getting smarter? What are some of the things that you've liked about so far what you've done?
Yeah, I always going to say, you know, reps are gold. So when guys go in and they make a mistake, are they repeat offenders or do they clean it up? And I thought that we have enough self-awareness and to know the mistakes that we got to clean up, and then the consistency to solve the issue and fix the problem, not let it happen again. So it's football. We understand it's not going to be perfect. It never will be. But I felt like we took a jump with technique, with assignment, with, you know, getting in and out of the huddle, with execution, as much as we can now without pads on. So that puts another variable into it come training camp, which is fun. But I felt like they made a jump there.
You have any plans, Coach? I think you and your wife went to Europe last year.
Oh, yeah. No Europe trip. Going to spend time with the wife and the kids, and I'm going to go to Ohio. I play in a member guest with my best friend, and we currently have 2 green jackets when you win, and no team has ever won a third. Especially with this new schedule now, I might not be able to play pretty soon here. If that goes through, we already talked about that. But so I'm on the hunt for a third green jacket. Compete. I don't just say it, I do preach it. What's that?
What's the date of that tournament?
Second week in July, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Thursday's 2-man best ball. Friday is a Chapman. Saturday, 4 balls that got to hit the cup, aggregate. It's a grind. 80 teams. One of the best member guests in Ohio.
How's the ramp up for the golf game going to go?
It's got to get going.
Where do you keep the green jackets, Coach?
In my closet.
You had really 2 good classes of rookies this year and last year. Last year's guys contributed right away.
Yeah.
And with 12 guys, looking at who they are, what they play, there's a good chance a lot of these guys could also be starters or in rotation. How unusual is that, or how cool is that?
That's a really good question, Bob. I mean, I told him that today. I think we got, off the top of my head, Mark, maybe somewhere in the mid-30s of guys that haven't played their 18th game. So when you add, like you just said, our first rookie class that's coming up on their 2nd year, and then the rookie class, you know, it's cool. Every team's built a little bit different, and you know, Monty and myself and the whole staff, we're going to do what we think is best for the team. The people that are ready to play and contribute and have a role on game day on the practice squad, you know, that's who we're going to go with. So I know there's a lot of competition in certain rooms right now, which I like. Good teams have a lot of competition. And it's going to be interesting to see where these next 4 weeks of camp go. You know, they know it's always time to go, but it's time to go, you know. So we got to get ready for week 1. We got to develop. We got to evaluate. We got to keep people healthy. But we got to all of us, myself first, to the coaches, to the players, we got to improve our game. We got to improve our game.
Going off of that, how can a guy like Xavier Weaver kind of emerge in that wide receiver room?
Yeah, I mean, the amount of reps that you get, and you make your reps count, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, I've seen, you know, time and time again where you're running with the 2s or the 3s, you make a few plays, and you say, oh, that looked good, let's bump him up some reps, and it looks good again. It's like, well, put him in with the 1s, and let's see what he does against, you know, that group. And this league, I'm going to tell them this afternoon at a team meeting. They know this, they've heard this, but, you know, the guys that do really well in this league take advantage of their opportunities and run with it. And I think that's what, you know, we're going to need from some of our guys.
When OTA started, Marvin Harrison Jr. was not the first receiver in his line to go, and
to open up minicamp, he was. Does something like that happen naturally? Do you appoint that? How does all that work?
Yeah, I think that's just who, as a staff, we decided to put out there as it got going. But what I'll say with that is we're competing for our roles right now, everybody, as we kind of talked about. And naturally, sometimes it happens. Sometimes it's you know what, this guy's, ready to go with the ones and play with the ones, then we do that. So everybody's a little bit different. It's a good question. And how we handle everybody's a little bit different. You know what I mean? Just depending on all the variables that you have to make the decision. So he's done a really good job from the start of OTAs when he got here to where he is now. I think you guys are talking to him today, but he's all about ball, man.
You've had, I wouldn't say a drastic change in the wide receiver room, but you guys have overhauled it to a certain extent. What do you like about that position room right now, and do you feel like it could be underrated?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, proof will always be in the pudding, but I think that we got some guys with different skill sets. It's a smart room, so we can move guys around, and a lot of those guys can get open and catch the ball. And that's, I joke about it. I was saying that to somebody the one day where it was a fast day, like who can score points? Like that's the name of the game, can you catch a slant and take it 40? Can you, a one-on-one 50-50 ball down the sideline, can you make the play for an explosive? Can you score in the red zone, when we throw the ball down there? So, and those guys have done a really good job. I think what gets overlooked is our guys do a really good job in the run game. Because we need all 11 to do their job in the run game. It's not just the O-line, tight ends, and the running back. It's the quarterback, it's the receivers. And they understand the value of they got to get dirty sometimes. To be a good running football team, you need all 11 to be doing their job. And we got tough enough guys that they get dirty, and they'll go put a hat on a hat. And that's good to see, too. So that will increase as we get to camp and the pads on and preseason games when we go to Indy. But that's a part of the evaluation, too.
Expanding on the Marvin stuff you just said, how have you seen, overall impressions, I guess, of him, and then how have you seen him adjust to the NFL game?
Pretty seamless, the second part of that question. What he will need to adjust to is the speed of the game, guys playing different techniques, different body types on him. When he's one-on-one with different corners, because week one's going to look different than week two and all that stuff. I think, though, from a standpoint of Drew's done a great job with him, Terrell, and Whip, too. Hey, he's got 4 or 5 releases. Here's your 3 that you need to really hone in on. Sometimes less is more with that. Throw your fastball, man. 80% of the time, throw your fastball. These other 2 are changeups, but this works, do it. So I think it would just be a constant growth and learning from his standpoint of what works, what do I need to do, where does the quarterback expect me, who I'm playing against, different ways to get open versus different body types, little quick guys, big, long guys. That all matters, you know what I mean? That's the one-on-one battle that he's going to go through week in and week out, all the receivers. And then put in the coverage structures of all that. What you're seeing, did you see that as cloud? Did you see that as swipe? Did you see that as quarters? Here's what you got to do. That's like real time going on. So the more reps he gets, the better off he'll be. And hopefully he'll be ready to go on the same page with the quarterback and the offense.
You mentioned previously that maybe you might need to talk to him about dialing it back a little bit. Have you had that conversation with him yet?
A little bit. I'll keep that in-house, but he's doing a good job. My expectation for him, he meets and exceeds it so far, so we'll keep it going like that.
Do you have a message, Coach, to the guys when they leave for the summer? We've got previous coaches say, don't be that guy,
Yeah, I can't say it here because it uses foul language, but they know that our whole state of our franchise and our team is put the team in front of you. And if you go through your day, every action that you go through, I can put it into that category. And so that would apply with what you just asked is make sure you put yourself behind the team. So it's very clear and easy for those guys to understand what the expectation is when they're not in the building as well as in the building.
You mentioned the competition. How would you evaluate overall just the depth of this roster compared to going to camp last year?
I would think it's better. I think it's better. I think with the additions that Monty's made and his staff through, guys talk about free agency in the draft, but you guys, sometimes I forget even guys that we added at the 53 last year, guys that we added mid-year that came in and served big roles for us, help us play football. And that's why they're back, you know what I mean? So I do think that there's a lot of more competition going into this camp than last camp.
With the change in the international player rules and what you've seen in the development of Psychovitz, is he a guy that you see in the realm of everybody else, or is he still, in your eyes, kind of an
1,000% in the realm of everybody else. He's competing for a role right now. He's doing a good job.
With the new additions to the wide receiver room, what does Mike Wilson have to do to make that successful second-year leap in the league?
I mean, kind of everything that we talked about. Marvin just accelerated, so it's always going to come to, I think where you're ultimately evaluated is production on the grass. But how you get to that production on the grass on a daily basis, I think he will take a jump with what he's doing. And, from all the standpoints of what that means, schematic, technique, physical, his health, what's in between his ears, he will take a jump in all those, buckets, I call them. And that will then, in turn, give him a chance to increase his production and help us win. So I really like where Mike is at. You guys know he's, as smart as they come, as competitive as they come, works on his craft, works on his game. He's another one. You got to tell him, get off the practice field now, we're done. He's going to have a good year.
Does his role change from week to week, do you think, or is he going to be this guy?
No, I think, his expectation, my expectation, and the team's expectation is him to go help us win games, get open, catch the football, and block when it's a run. So what that looks like week to week, and with all our receivers or tight ends or running backs, it's part about being adaptable. Sometimes he might get 10 targets, sometimes he might get 3, but hopefully his opportunities and when he's in the game, he's impacting winning. And you can do that a lot of different ways.
You know that he's in the barn on the field and stuff?
He's never in the barn.
Your quarterback. Looking back the last couple of months, what has it been like having him back on?
Awesome. Yeah, awesome. I'm not going to hide my excitement. It's awesome to see him, lead the offense, lead the team, being there with his teammates, ask really good questions, get held accountable in front of everyone and take it on the chin just like everybody does. I love that about him. That's because he's competitive as all get out. So, I coach him. He gets coached just like the rookie receiver getting coached making a mistake. And he likes that. He welcomes that. He wants that. But like I said, it's been really cool to see. It's been really cool to see. And, I've told you guys it's going to be an interesting year for him. It really is. I'm excited for him.
What's the biggest difference from this last year to this year? Did things feel more comfortable? You had a year now. How does it feel?
Yeah, I wouldn't say more comfortable. I'm always on the edge of my seat, honestly. Never really comfortable. But I think that we've learned a lot, myself and as a staff, and hopefully that makes us a better team. So that's what it comes down to, is winning and losing, right? But I want to make sure our process is right and we're doing everything that we can from a development standpoint for the players so they can go out and have success. That's the role of a coach. So doesn't matter if you're the head coach or quality control or strength coach or the assistant athletic trainer, our roles are all the same, serve the players so they can have success doing their job. So I like where we're at with that, but we have to improve. So with that, you guys have a good summer. Be safe. Don't do dumb is the deal. And I'll see you in July.